Hey guys, Zibboyeye or just Zib is fine, and today we're looking at what would remain the last Ringu film for years to come. Today we're looking at Ring 0 Birthday. Following Ring 2, the future of the Ring film series presented issue. Retconning Rasen created a split in the timeline. On the one hand, making a film for the Rasen timeline would be easy. Considering these films are based on books, all they'd have to do is lift from the next book in the series, Loop. However, switching back to a continuity they just retconned would confuse audiences. On the other hand, continuing the Ring 2 timeline would mean writing a new story. In the end, both continuities were disregarded in favor of moving backwards with Ring 0 Birthday, based on the fourth book of the series, Birthday. Unlike Ring and Rasen, Ring 0 is not based on an entirety of a book. The novel Birthday is an anthology. The vignette the film adapts, Lemon Heart, is only just over 100 pages in the English release. Both the Ring and Rasen books are over 250 pages. Are the 100 pages of Lemon Heart even worthy of a film? Let's find out with how it all began and look at Ring 0 Birthday. The film is set 30 years before the events of Ring, following a 19-year-old Sadako Yamamura. After the infamous incident in Ikuma's presentation, Sadako's mother, Shizuko, has committed suicide. Now in Tokyo, Sadako takes apprenticeship under a theater troupe. Things are looking up for Sadako as she finds drama relaxing and begins to grow a romantic attachment to the technician Toyama. However, many members are on edge as the group seems to act differently since Sadako joined. Suspicions grow further as lead actress Aiko mysteriously dies. The director Shigemori casts Sadako as her replacement. Meanwhile, a journalist by the name of Miyagi hunts down Sadako. Sadako attempts to maintain her new life before it all comes crashing down. If you watched my Ring 2 review, you may remember I criticized that film for lacking a curse that limited the protagonist's lifespan. In the first two films, the curse acted as a countdown. The anticipation for the 7th day drove the suspense of the film. The premise of Ring 0 doesn't have that kind of curse either, but I don't take issue with that. We know how Sadako's story ends. This inevitable doom lends itself to an anticipation not dissimilar to that of the 7-day curse. Because of that, I consider Ring 0's premise befitting of Ring. Regarding the plot, the scope of the story is more limited than prior Ring films. With fewer set pieces, a majority of the film revolves around the theater. There is a lesser sense of adventure in this film, but the concentrated setting allows for a greater focus on characters and their relationships, which I think the film excels at. You'd think it would be hard to follow who would become the killer of the series in a lead role, but the film makes Sadako quite human. Sadako wants to achieve a good. She wants to shed her past. This is conveyed through an allegorical speech in the play.
生まれ変わることができるなら、それが神に逆らうことであっても、私はあなたのそばに。
The film presents Sadako with many obstacles, from simple intimidation of the big role before her, to blackmail, to assault. The hardships Sadako treads through make her very empathetic. Her want and the empathy the audience feels for her makes her very human. Her love, Toyama, is no slouch of a character either. He has an unrelenting loyalty. Up to the end of the film, when the whole troupe is turned on Sadako, he still tries to save her.
遠山さんは逃げて。
ダメだ。一緒に逃げるんだ。
His extreme faithfulness makes him one of the most impactful characters in the series. There's a lot of tension between characters as well. As wife of the reporter Sadako killed, Miyagi is out for blood. Etsuko is jealous over Sadako's and Toyama's relationship. Yet, considering the strange events, she holds a genuine suspicion towards Sadako.
貞子から離れて保護者っていう人に会ってきたの。やっぱり貞子はなんか隠してるのよ。
Etsuko wants to protect the troupe by exposing the danger Sadako is. Shigemori, the director, suspects Sadako of killing Aiko in order to steal her role.
アイコが死んだのは偶然じゃない。お前は女優になるためなら何でもする女だ。
He views this as a ruthless desire for stardom. Hoping to capture that gumption, Shigemori blackmails Sadako using her past.
12年前もお前が殺したのか。俺を殺す気か。死ぬ時はお前の道連れだ。今の話を全部ぶちまける。
As for Toyama, any conflict in Sadako's way becomes his own as he hopes to protect her. Sadako's desire for a new life conflicts with Shigemori's blackmail, Miyagi's search, and Etsuko's plan to expose her. There is a lot of conflict between characters. The conflict emphasized the characters' wants, and the characters for that matter, making the personalities in this film more memorable. The poor-fated Sadako, manipulative director, jealous yet protective Etsuko, and loyal Toyama, the characters all have distinct and pronounced personalities. This is why I consider Ring Zero home to the best characters of the series. Despite all that praise, I do have some issues with the film. It is established that not only did the reporter who accused Shizuko of fraud die, but everyone in the audience as well.
この12年、みんなあそこにいた人たちなんです。
As it turns out, everyone in the troupe is also cursed.
この劇団はもう呪われてるのね。
I find it weird that Sadako's mere presence is enough to curse someone when before it was Sadako's will that killed the reporter.
貞子が殺したのか。念じるだけで人が殺せるのか。
You'd think something this big would have been discovered in the investigation of the first movie. I think the primary reason for this is to get everyone in the troupe involved in the climax because their lives depend on being able to stop the curse. But this newly established ability is enough to at least pique a brow. My other complaint centers around another new power of Sadako. After a scuffle between Shigemori and Toyama, Shigemori ends up dead and Toyama badly injured. Taking Toyama to her psychiatrist, Sadako finds his wounds have healed exponentially.
傷が塞がりかけてる。こんな出血で。
Then, leaving the hospital, Sadako touches a man in a wheelchair who, afterwards, miraculously regains his ability to walk. We're about halfway through the movie. This power comes out of nowhere. It's only used within this 5 minutes of the movie. Never shows up before, never shows up after. It does almost nothing. It only has 2 utilities in the story. 1, to get Toyama back on his feet in time for the play, and 2, to motivate the doctor to see the play.
女の子が触ったら突然立ち上がったんです。
おじいちゃんお願いします。
先生。
But 1, why not just have Toyama less injured? 2, Sadako is a repeat patient of the doctor. Sadako takes Toyama specifically to him, so there has to be some level of trust between Sadako and the doctor. I'd believe it if the doctor went to the play just to support Sadako. Both these ends can be achieved without Sadako's healing power. This absurd barely plot point not only comes out of left field, but can be easily cut. There is another case of a new supernatural occurrence regarding Sadako, but before we get to that, let's get into the ending. Etsuko meets Miyagi, acquiring a recording of Ikuma's presentation. Etsuko plays the audio during premiere night. Triggering Sadako, the theater is in chaos. However, the crew has found the body of Shigemori, assuming Sadako is to blame. I like this subversion. We're used to Sadako as the monster, preying on humanity, but it's hard not to see the cruelty in these people cornering and bludgeoning this girl. Miyagi informs everyone that there's another Sadako. They have to kill her in order to be cured. Thus, everyone heads to Ikuma's whereabouts, where he explains the origin of the second Sadako.
貞子は一人だった。だが途中で2つに分かれた。
Now, this is foreshadowed plenty.
話してくれないか。お前は何を怖がってるんだ。
私のそばに誰かいるの。
あの子のことまで恐ろしく思えて、今日学校に来るのはどっちのサダちゃんだろうなんて。
So the plot point itself has a basis in the narrative, but within the world, it's definitely a head-turner. However, I don't consider this supernatural oddity as egregious as that seen in Ring 2. For one, Ring 2 dedicated more time to spouting explanation for its power of intent theory.
彼女からこの水へ何らかのエネルギーが移動したんだ。フィルムの観光現象も同じ理屈で説明できる。すべてはエネルギーの移動なんだ。生駒博士は観念は生物なりって言ったんだ。人間の思念は一つのエネルギーであり実体化しうる。
あの子を使ったら体力が。
あの子はエネルギーを導く。いわば最適の霊媒だ。
While Sadako's split is only given one line of dialogue, the film doesn't dwell on it with babbling exposition that only gives you more time to poke holes in it. Not only that, but Ring 2 used supernatural malarkey as a solution to its conflict. Using this flimsy, made-up logic as a solution is a writing cop-out. However, Sadako's other half is not a solution, it's additional conflict. Conflict for Sadako because her other is the source of all her torment, and conflict for the troop as it threatens their lives. Because of this, it's much easier to suspend disbelief for Sadako's split. Although the in-world reasoning makes little more sense than the supernatural prattle in Ring 2, the presentation and function of Sadako's split makes it far more tolerable. Also, from this point onward, I'll be referring to the Sadako the film has followed as just Sadako, and the evil Sadako as Cursed Sadako. Cursed Sadako fuses with Sadako and starts claiming victims. Cursed Sadako maintains her face concealing hair, but her movement is slightly altered. In the first film, Sadako moved slowly, whereas her movement in this film is more erratic. The way she twists her limbs is really inhuman. It makes the monster even more visually intimidating. I love it. Following the massacre, Sadako reverts to her normal self. Tired of the killing, however, Ikuma poisons her and pushes her down the well.
うなされてたよ。
遠山さん。
As unbelievable as this dream ending would be, as much as a cop-out it would be, I was so emotionally invested in Sadako that, for a second, I didn't question it. That's how bad I wanted this happy ending for her. It's a cruel trick, but I played right into it. It uses the empathy towards Sadako to reel you into a trap before pulling the rug out from under you for one last painful drop. Ring Zero hurts, but to the benefit of the film. As a prequel, Ring Zero works excellently. Sadako's troop, her father, her whole world turned on her. By the end of the film, I completely understood the vindictive and misanthropic beliefs that led to Sadako's curse. The circumstance under which Sadako died adds a layer of context that deepens her motive. Even disregarding its function as a prequel, Ring Zero is a great film in its own right. However, contrary to the rest of the series, I view Ring Zero as less of a horror film and more of a tragedy. It features the cornerstones of a tragic protagonist. I empathize so much with Sadako, she suffers greatly in the film, yet it all stems from the flaw of her curse. The emotional strength of this film is unparalleled in the Ring series. From its addition to the Ring universe to its characters, I consider Ring Zero Birthday to be the best of the series. I know there are more Ringu films after this, but at the time of release it would be 12 more years until the world would see the franchise continue. So I will close this review off on a short retrospective of the series. Having seen all these films, I think Ringu is only worth giving a chance for its sequels. Although it goes without saying, Ring 2 is the exception. But other than that, I found the plot and mystery of Rasen better than that of Ring. I found the characters of Ring Zero better than that of its predecessors. In summary, Ring is the most efficient at horror, Rasen has the better plot, and Ring Zero has the best characters. That being said, Rasen and Ring Zero made the series all worth it and beloved to me. I've been Zibboyeye, or just Zib is fine, and thank you for watching. Zibbo bye bye!